know, the SORA RFP or request for proposal system for open development is something quite unique to the SORA and PokerSwap network. By submitting requests for proposals, users can tender the development and implementation of functions they'd like to see in SORA and PokerSwap, including improvements, connections to bridges, all sorts of things you can think of. I think the only thing that the RFP process does not accept is when questions, because the answer to that is soon. Right. So to contribute to the RFP process is a very straightforward workflow. You need to fork the RFP repository to your GitHub. From there, you need to create your RFP in the new RFP section, and then make a pull request to merge it to the SORA repository. Once that is done, the pull requests will be added to the database, which is the Airtable that we all know and love and see getting updated every week. So that is pretty transparent. Everyone can see, everyone can access all the pull requests that are there. And we encourage that everyone actually puts their opinion and lets the community know what their thoughts are on it, if there can be any improvements, if they agree or disagree, because this is an open source development process. So it is encouraged that the more people talk about it, the more people have a conversation around the proposals, then we can see how much value there is. Sorry, is there any issue with my sound?
No, everything is fine. I can hear you. Turn up.
Got it.
William, yeah, no thanks.
So once the RFP is in the pull request aspect, it gets voted on, and if it gets approved, then the RFP will then be a proposal. These are two very different points, because an RFP simply requests that implementation is there. However, the proposal has to include a date for this proposal to be done, and it also has to include a budget. This budget is what in the end will get paid to the developer or team of developers when the proposal is merged and when it is fully developed. So this is a very straightforward process, and it's also done so that there are no doubts about what is happening, about what the team is working on, and so that everyone can be aware of the different steps and the different implementations that are required. So for a lot of questions that appear usually in the community chats, where people are asking for functionalities, for bridges, for all sorts of different things to be done or to be worked on, the easiest way and the best way to get your proposed functionality worked on or implemented is to submit an RFP. The RFP process is different to the SORA Builders program. The SORA Builders program is focused on getting new apps and dApps ported and developed onto the SORA network. So that is for teams of builders or individual developers who would like to get on, like, for example, the Serious team, exactly. You need to sign up to the SORA Builders program, give us more information about what the app is, about your team, etc. And then from there, a deliberation is done and you can get onboarded into the program to then have your dApp added to the SORA network, plus have development support, plus have some financial support in the form of ZOR if that is required. So far, are there any questions about this process?
They cannot ask question because it's
yeah, exactly. Since everyone's muted, could you please raise your hand and we'll unmute you to ask your question.
Yeah, I think we can let them ask the questions at the end because it's recorded. You know, we should turn off the recording and let the community ask questions, because most of us, you know. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Great. So
let's go on the list of the RFPs and the development that are on this page that I will share you in the ZORA Serious chat. Here's a list of the RFPs. And first of all, you see the existing on curve. RFP is under development. It's more than a form of providing liquidity on other AMM DEX, and trying to make at the end more demand for SORA. I think this was already explained, but what one of the interesting RFPs is Oracle RFP. It's called Zoracle, and the proposal it's a proposal 28, and it gives you, if you click on this link, I'll show you again on the chat. If you go, I send the link on SORA serious chat again of the Zoracle. And if you see that and you go to file change, it gives you a summary of the proposal that is in continuous development still. And it describes that implementation of Oracle to provide relevant feeds of relatively small events about the off-chain world for on-chain usage, like TBC pricing and tokens linked to off-chain factory, and like the Zoracle proposal also describes the goal of the proposal, and the goal is, I'm just gonna read that. It's a building smart contract about outside world data feeds, for example, DEX and the translate insurance. And in this, in case you want to know more about this Zoracle project, feel free to read that in the links I provided to you. It's the Oracle project status is in the RFP GitHub repo under development, and it will be probably go mainnet by mid of this year, in summer, something like this. But it's still not fixed. There is no hard deadline for this project. But we will see many, like the Zoracle project is an important infrastructure for other synthetic assets, such as euro, Japanese yen, or also gold, whatever other synthetic assets. As
Sorry, to follow up on what Grug is mentioning, if you do not want to look at the RFP updates from GitHub itself, if you don't understand GitHub or you don't like it or whatever the reason, we have this Airtable with the ongoing RFPs where we share the status of the RFP as well as the number and a summary, which is quite easily digestible so that you know what's happening. This gets constantly updated, so it stays pretty much in tune with what goes on in the GitHub repository. I recommend this for you to look out on what's happening. We currently have 13 ongoing proposals with 4 that have been completed, which, as you know, is Valvesting, the referral program, and NFT that came out in February, and XST USD. Like Greg mentions, the importance of the SORAcle is so that we can have more, or so that the community and the network can have more SORA synthetic assets.
Yes. Leverage. There are many RFPs. Everyone can create RFP and just leave it there, and many are like some are like proposed by community, and they just propose it and without working this out. And yeah, like another interesting RFP is like the NFTs. Someone asked already in the Google form about the NFTs when NFT release, and NFT release is already live, and you can use it on the podcast WebDex, and it's one of the completed RFPs, and another completed RFP is XST with the stablecoin. It's implementation of the one of the liquidity sources that we will go through later. Yeah. So that's everything about RFPs, and I think. Do you want to mention, William? Do you want to mention any other RFP that is interesting? For example, I created the centralized forum. It's proposed by the community member Satoshi Soramoto. Well, yeah.
By the way, now that you mention who creates the RFPs, it's very important for us to clarify that this is open source and this is decentralized. Therefore, if you make an RFP, then your name will be associated to it. Your GitHub repository will be associated to it. So if you wanted to do this discreetly or without, without being doxed or without getting all of your or without getting any information provided in those repositories for it, then that is not possible. You need to provide it from a repository where you will be identified. The same goes for the SORA Builders program. This is not done with any clauses for non-disclosure or anything of the sort. Yeah, Artem just asked, how does one propose UI changes for mobile wallet or PokerSwap? Does it work with RFP? Yes, it does. That's how you pretty much put any proposal forward. In the RFP form, there are certain questions where they ask where you need to put in some exact details about what your RFP consists on. And there you can mention what specific aspect you would like to see changed or improved. If there's no further talk about RFPs, let's move on to the questions submitted by the community in the Google Forms.
William, do you want to go through the ecosystem update? Is anyone interested about the ecosystem update from this week? Otherwise, we will skip that. But it was, I think, also planned to do that. It just summarized what we did in the ecosystem. If anyone is interested, he could raise his hand. Otherwise, we skip that this part of the call, because you can always read it, and it just takes time for someone who already read that and don't want to be bothered with this part. Okay, then we skip that, I think.
Great. So let's go to questions. As Greg mentioned, question number 1, when SORA NFTs? NFTs are already out, so that would be a very inaccurate question. Let's jump to number 2. When SORA release? SORA has already released.
It's already released. I don't know what this guy is asking about. I mean, I think I could think that it's one of the SORA release that 2. I don't know which release, the Ceres Ceres functions, one of the Ceres functions. As Makoto mentioned in the chat, this is in the review process, and we will have it on the testnet. I think it's already on the testnet, and we will see when it will be launched. We don't set any hard dates for this launch, so everything needs to be careful, because we saw a lot of exploits, and that's in the cryptosphere, and we don't want to we don't want to risk anything here, and we need to be careful here in this with this development. It is really a serious thing, and yeah. The third question, if you go to the third question, and what is the current status of the Skywell project when buying the virtual property in Sky Village and shopping mall for XOR? Yeah. Currently, like if you like, it's not in our hands to launch the Skywell project. It's a third-party development, and we do not have anything. We do not have any information when they will launch. But if you follow the Chinese media, they are really popular in China. I mean in Japan. Sorry. In Japan, they are really popular in Japan. Every release they have, they are mentioned really in big media, and they are. If I'm not wrong, it's this year or next year. I'm not sure. It depends what they're doing, and yeah, and if you see the GP Games website, you can see they're having really many partners and many companies that joining this adventure. Yeah, it's really a big thing that is currently under the radar. Okay, next question. Do you want to?
Sure. So next question is related to merchants. If a merchant starts selling now in ZOR XST-USD, do they have to apply for benefit from the TBC? And then pools, would it be possible to launch other products with a NOR-like bonding pool dynamically priced? Should the TBC price be adapted to inflation? Yeah, so to answer the first part of the question, no, there is no implementation for merchants yet regarding the use of SOR or XST-USD. At the moment, merchants can receive P2P payments. Regarding the token bonding curve questions, short answer is no, but they can always make a proposal to add these implementations for dynamic priced and TBC. Moving on to the next question. This one is a bit controversial. Why does Makoto keep saying the team does not have tokens, while in these accounts with 13K SOR, making sure dev proposal passes? Who owns these accounts? Are these two accounts also determining who council member is? Isn't the team technically holding 10 spots in the council? Can we get some clarification for the community? Can the team can hold, but why is Makoto denying it? Etc. 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 I think this was brought up in the PolkaSwap chat earlier this week. So let's just clarify that these accounts are owned by pre-launch whales who are holding SOR from before. Not every mass holder is sitting in the dark waiting to flip and dump their tokens. Some actually care about the project and take the time to participate in governance. I mean, this is a decentralized project, so anyone else can hold a seat. And so to answer the question concisely, no, there is no obligation on part of SORA to disclose who holds an account, as we don't know either, or it is not known either. And seeing as privacy is an important part of the cryptosphere, doxing holders would kind of go against that. If you're interested to know who holds an account, the best thing you can do is ask in a public forum who the account belongs to and hope that they answer.
Yeah, very nice explained, William. I just want to add here something that is, I think, in my opinion, really interesting. This SORA network is a fair launch project, and everyone can buy this token, and everyone like if the team don't buy their own token, that something is wrong. So they don't believe in their project. So otherwise they would buy it. So if you don't believe in your own project, you wouldn't buy your token. So it doesn't make any sense to say, oh, why you're holding tokens and from your own project. So that's one point. The second point is anyone, like the council point, anyone can join the council, and you need just to have enough voting power to be in the council. Like currently, I'm trying to be in the council and still have the trouble to get voting power from other councils to be selected. So that's something that I wanted to clarify here. Yeah.
Sorry to hurry you, but we have 10 minutes left, unfortunately.
Okay.
So we will try to skim through the questions that have come in so far. The next question is, how fair is it to fast track Mint referendums since it makes it go faster and easy with a simple majority? Yeah, the answer to this is that it depends on the referendum. If it's something regarding network safety, then it's definitely fair to fast track it, as it is to ensure that people's funds are secure and do not get compromised. So next question related to this: if we're going to vote using fast track, can we do it with proper settings? You can certainly propose it, and the community can decide. Another controversial one: right now we can't audit dev invoice. Can teams somehow be more transparent about invoices and maybe find a way to audit it from outside the company? Yeah, the quick answer to this is that the team is as transparent with the invoices as possible. The technology is something that people use and is tangible, so the invoices are sent after development is done. If a community member or user would like an external audit for this, then I think that would be a cost that they would have to cover, which means an extra invoice for that person. And you need to ask SORA Mitsu to disclose this information. Do you want to take care of the next question, Guru?
Mm-hmm. So as democracy pilot allowing everyone to propose Mint for forced transfer, it caused referendum spam and caused devs to increase settings, not turning back to an old settings. Is it possible to just allow council to propose this kind of proposal and lower democracy settings? Yeah, if you lower democracy settings, is that really something decentralized? You can propose it and let the community decide on it, and I don't think that is the way that we should. Like we use native substrate democracy on-chain governance palette, and everything is default, and sure, we can customize things, but it needs to be clearly with one process. Like it needs to go with the RFP process, and everyone needs to be in this discussion involved. And I think this question is clarified. And William, do you want to go with the next? Or I can go with the next. How will SORA attract new builders when going up against the other projects with SimsLink, Infinite Marketing, and grant allocation? Yeah, well, grant allocation. Here's the point. SORA has infinite, like, if you understand SORA, then you will understand that SORA has infinite amount of funds that can be allocated for productive use. So that we are in advantage in comparison to other that needs to get grants from, needs to get allocation from VCs, and so so to be clear, SORA provides incentive and support developers, and if everyone wants to build on this platform, and we are really supporting them, and it just like I'm sure the person that asked this question is a bit confused, because we use Vazam and other chains like Moonbeam and Akala, using, like, let's say these projects they use EVM, and building on EVM is much easier because there are more Solidity developers, and easier to jump into Solidity than in Rust. So one of the reasons because why few teams are building on SORA is more on Moonbeam, for example, is because they use Ethereum virtual machine, and Ethereum virtual machine has limitations, and will be in is not the Wasm is the future, you know, and I think here is the point that we build for the next generation and not for the current generation, and it takes time that builders join us. And I think Wasm has really a lot of advantages in comparison to EVM, and that is one of the reasons. Okay, I think I could clarify this question.
Great. So moving on, one of the unique propositions PocoSwap made when first entering the spotlight was ALT. Has there been any progress on this? Yes, there are currently 3 sources of ALT, and more will be added when the SORA Kusama parachain is ready. The next question, are there any plans to hire a head of growth to help turbocharge adoption of SORA? Yes, that is in the works. Then does SORA have enough fuel to last a crypto winter compared to projects like Akala with hundreds of millions in funding? Yes, and it also has fewer VCs breathing down the team's neck. Then at current development phase, when does the team estimate the SORA Parliament will launch? Yeah, again, like we mentioned, we can't really provide any date estimates. All we can say is it's coming soon.
Can I add? Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Can I the question that someone is asked, does SORA project have enough full to last the crypto winter compared to projects like Akala, which hundreds of millions funding and VC backing? Venture capital backing is not really an advantage. It's more than a disadvantage, if you understand that. Really. Venture capitals, they suck more on your project than give it to you. So it's not it's not an advantage to have a VCs, not at all. So they will just continuously dumping the tokens. I remember one of the Twitter, the ex-Twitter CEO wrote about that crypto on Web3 is all about that VCs dumping on retailers, and that's really the point that we have seen in the crypto bull run from last year. And that was the case, that VCs just dumped on the retailers, and they made great profits. And that's what I want to clarify here. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. Okay, let's move on the next question.
We have 8 questions left, but we only have 2 minutes of time. So we'll address 2 very important questions. The first, how many full-time devs are working on SORA and PocoSwap? There are 20 devs working full-time. Additionally, we asked the people at Soramitsu, and after much duress, they answered and told us that the total time worked per dev has also been reduced by 20% to subsidize the community, which means that the amount that is being charged is less than the actual amount being worked on. So that is a good clarification. And finally, just to clarify the questions that we did not answer here, we're going to add to the serious chat, because this is a serious knowledge that the community needs. And with that, we're going to end the session. Thank you very much.